Hey, YouTube. Well, I'm finally getting around to it. It's time to talk about Queen Sugar. Okay, I believe this is there's only one episode left. So they're starting to tie up some loose ends here in this episode, right? Some relationships are being mended. Okay. So we start off with Ralph finds a wrapped gift over a closet in his house, in the farmhouse, right? Remember, he's inherited this house from his father. His father had wrapped a birthday gift for Blue, but he died before he was able to give it to him. So Ralph has found this, and he doesn't immediately give it to him. Nova shows up at the farm. She's going to try to make up with him, but he's still resistant. Goes off on her again. He reminds her of all the destruction she's caused, and she leaves. They don't make up. Later on, we find out that Blue overheard this. He knows that there's something going on between the two brother and sister. Right? Charlie's making plans. She's making plans for this big party to celebrate Micha's. Is his graduation? I guess they've already had the graduation. That was last week. They had the big. Supposed to have been the prom, but it was rained out. Anyway, so now they're preparing for him to go to Harvard. So she's decorating the house, getting everything ready for a big family party for Micha, who she thinks is headed for Harvard. But more will be revealed there shortly. Vi drops in at Nova's house. You know, they've hardly even spoken. But Vi shows up at her house. Vi wants Jimmy Dale's address. Nova is concerned. She said, please tell me you're not going to try to confront that man. Not on your own. So Nova agrees to give her this address. Nova has the address because she interviewed Jimmy Dale for this book of hers. She agrees to give her the address on one condition, and that condition is that she's allowed to go with her. And that she talks to her. Vi agrees to let her drive her there, but she is not agreeing to talking to her. She says she'll do that when she's ready. All right. Prosper shares with Charlie at the campaign headquarters that many of the long-term residents, people who have lived there for decades, are being dropped from the registered voters there in St. Joe. They have somehow or other, these are the Landrys or whatever other forces are trying to stop her from winning. They've dropped dozens of people off of the voting. I don't know what you call that thing. Anyway, they can't vote in that county. They got to be bused way out to some other place 3 hours away. Right. So she's got some good news that Jacob's numbers have dropped since his announcement that he's part black. But then Prosper hits her with that. While he's still talking to her, Ms. Francis shows up. Ms. Francis is hot about this announcement of Jacob's. She wants to know, what have you done to my son? What did you tell him? Is it witchcraft? I don't know. You put something on him. She confronts Charlie about this. And let's just say they have words. Right after this is, she's 1, 2, 3. Right after her, the cops show up. And Miss Francis got a smirk on her face, so she knows she knows what's going to happen with this meeting with the cops. Cops get there. They're talking to Charlie about the fire at the mill. Fire at the mill. They start asking her questions. And all of their questions are geared towards implicating her own family. They're not interested in who actually caused the fire. They have not interviewed or investigated Francis at all, nor any of the other Landrys. Their concern is what kind of fuel was used to set the fire, saying that this is something that is available on Ralph's farm, and also that Micha, they even mentioned her son, which is not the right thing to do. Micha had been implicated in an arson fire the year before. This is the thing where he was just there and the place accidentally burned down. Anyway, Charlie tells them, I'm a rich woman. I don't need to be doing no arson fires for insurance money, and you may leave. So she throws him out. Okay, so now we're on a trip to Jimmy Dale's place. And yeah, so Nova is driving Vi to Jimmy Dale's place, right? And they decide to talk. More of the same thing. She basically said to Nova that you told the wrong story, because Nova told more of the story of what she was up against with Jimmy Dale and her history with him. She had more pages about that than her coming out of that life, her rebuilding herself. She didn't find it particularly flattering, right? This is what Vi tells Nova, although at least she's talking to her, right? So she doesn't really allow Nova to say very much there. She says you talk great, we know that, but you don't listen all that good. Dora talks to Ralph about letting Nova back into his life. Ralph tells her that Nova showed up. She didn't let him see him. And Darla is concerned because Blue doesn't understand any of this adult stuff, and that she wants him to have as much family love in his life. It's wrong to keep her from him. That is still his aunt. And so, yeah, she thinks he should let her see him. Doesn't happen right away, but it does happen by the end of the episode. Okay? Next thing we see is Vi and confronts Jimmy Dale at his ramshackle house. This is a raggedy old house. It looks like a decent neighborhood, but his house is ramshackle. Garbage in the yard, porch falling apart and all that. This is where he came from. She confronts him. She has a box. She's giving him a wooden box, right? We don't know exactly what's in the box. They don't discuss what's in the box. But one of the things she pulls out of there is her hospital wristband. So perhaps these things are all associated with the way he was abusing her. She was a battered woman. She's been a hurt woman for all these years. She gives it to him, tries to have closure with him. He, as they're leaving, he breaks the box on the ground there. Says, don't mean nothing to me, fuck you. Excuse me. Let's go PG. I don't care. As they're leaving, she turns back and she tells him how well she's doing and how his life is what it was when she met him. Nothing. Probably some old house his family's been in forever. My life turned out good. I have love in my life. I have my own house, my own business. I'm doing great, and you're what you are. As they're leaving, a battered woman shows up. Battered because she has bandages all over her head. And she is terrified of this dude. Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy Dale. I didn't know you had company. I can come back later. Obviously a battered woman. And so Vi talks this girl, young girl, into coming with her, saying that you are me 30 years ago. She told her the girl had been to the grocery store, told her to drop the bags and come with us. I know girl said, I can know where to go. I know a place. So Vi takes this girl, puts her in their car. Of course, Jimmy Dale, he comes like he's going to come and snatch the woman away, but Nova is using the same tool that was used in, what was the other thing? In Greenleaf last year, where they're using these cameras now. If you can get your camera ready, if you can go live, you can record these people's. It turned out that seems to be quite a weapon. Your cell phone, ladies, arm yourself with your cell phones. Go live, so you have evidence of what these people are doing. So he is aware of that. He may not be tech savvy, but he is aware the fact that this woman is filming everything he does, and it's going live, so you can't destroy it. So they're able to get away. They take this woman to a not a shelter, but it's a sort of a women's shelter for battered women. Place where they can be safe. And she instructs the woman there if there's any problems to let her know Vi wants to be involved in this transition for this woman. So essentially, she saves her from Jimmy Dale. Micha takes Kiki to a museum. They discuss some interesting photography, some artwork. Apparently, he's much more into this photography than has been let on. He actually sees photography as more than a hobby. Right? So they're there and they're discussing how in a few months they won't be able to see each other again. He'll be halfway across the world, halfway across the country, in Boston. Okay, but stop, boy. Y'all want to see my... Let me show you something. Okay, we got to take a commercial break here. I want to show you my baby. Come on, baby. They get a new haircut. Hey, I look like a different person. Hi, Daddy. I look like an angel, don't I? Daddy, the light looks good on me. Where are the people at in there? They inside of there? Hi, baby. Look at that beautiful haircut he got. He looks like a different dog. Bless his little heart. Damn near $100. My baby's worth it. Okay, back to the show. Back to the show. Where were we? Micha talking to Kiki, okay? Then we see Darla visits Vi. And remember, those two had made up last week when Darla had her relapse, and Vi was able to take her back to the family and see to her and encourage her about what had happened to her that led to all of this destruction in her life, which was basically a date rape. She visits her, Darla, Vi. They have Vi seems to have totally forgiven her now. And she gives Vi her chip for her 30 days of sobriety. So when you relapse, you have to start all over again. She wants Vi to have her 30-day chip. Right? So those two have been mended. Okay, Charlie. Next thing is Charlie. She's got her whole crew together. She's got maybe 20, 25 people working in this on this campaign with her. She lets them all know what these Landrys have been up to. Landrys are other parties that are trying to stop her, and they're concerned with her campaign and trying to end it. Anyway, she's told them about how people are not being added to the polls, how they have to bust these people out to other places. Prosper has a plan. He's already talked to some people about how to get these people to the polls where they can vote. Right, so all is not lost yet, but she's letting them know where they're at, where they stand. That these Landrys and or other parties are really putting the pedal to the metal. Vi and Nova make up finally. Vi has got some weight lifted off for her after this incident with this boy Jimmy Dale, and now they're making up, and she's saying no more secrets. So she actually thanks Nova, because basically what the whole thing was, Nova was telling family secrets, and they're starting to discover now that the secrets were what were keeping them bondage. Too many secrets. Now it's all out, and she's glad that it's come to this. This is what is implied. Right? No more secrets, she says. Nova goes back to meet with Charlie. They've made up too. Charlie's still a little standoffish, but they basically made up as well. Nova shares more information with Charlie about these people who they assume were all working for the Landrys, that possibly they're working for other people. She's went to this other office. It's a shell company, a small office with the receptionist, and she doesn't have the full story yet, but she's seeing that this could be bigger than the Landrys, or even this oil company. Right? More than likely, this is going to lead to some politician. We'll see. But she didn't have all the information yet. It's another mystery about who's involved in beating her. Ralph gets a lesson from Blue. Not Ralph. Blue gets a lesson. No. Ralph Angel gets a lesson from his son, Blue. Right? About forgiveness. Because Blue is confronting him. Why won't you let me talk to Aunt Nova? And I heard you the other morning. I know you're mad at her. Ralph tried to explain that she has done something and she felt like she was in the right. He didn't agree. Blue gives him a lesson about a fight he had with his best friend in school, and the lesson he learned that they had more in common. Their friendship was not worth ending over a video game, and they had more in common than they had in this difference they were having. Ralph seemed to take that to heart. He said, "You can go and sit with your aunt." Right? They're getting ready for this great big old party for Micha. Now I don't know about this. This boy is announcing to the whole family, everybody, at the same time as he announces to his mother that he is not going to Harvard. He has canceled. He has rescinded his plans to go to Harvard, and he's already let them know about it. Charlie is livid. So they have this public argument where she's saying he's been given every privilege in the world, and now he's got a chance to really make something of his life, and he wants to take pictures. Micha announces he's going to a local school there. It's like an art school. He wants to make a living as a photographer and also do community work. This was not in Charlie's plan. And here, I know a lot of the people in the party seem to be on Micha's side. I do not agree. This child has got a chance to go to the same school that Barack Obama went to, the best school in the country, on his mother's dime. He doesn't even know what he wants to do. He just made this decision this week. But to have a career in finance or have a stellar career of some sort, which was what happened with most Harvard graduates, to go and have a job like a photographer, it's a big leap. And I don't blame her for being hot. And they don't close it out with her accepting it either. They leave her hot just like that. Of course, we know that next week she's going to have to accept it because he's already done it. And because that's the way television shows have to end. You have to agree eventually. He should be allowed to do whatever he wants to do with his life. But, I'm with Charlie on that one. Anyway, that's where we leave it. Next week will be the last episode. God bless you guys. See you next week.